don't think I've ever properly expressed how much I hate horror games before, so just as a quick brief, I hate horror games. It's more that I hate playing horror games, really, as I do get a kick out of games like Soma and Five Nights at Freddy's. But, like, heck, I'm actually ever going to play them. So when I picked up this Nightmare a while ago, I knew I'd eventually have to play it. With Halloween right around the corner and it lurking behind my shoulder every waking moment, I figured now would be a good time to play it, before it stabbed me in my sleep. Okay, a little bit of backstory on this game. Apparently it was originally supposed to be a Silent Hill game for the DS, but Konami turned them down, so they turned it into their own original idea. Pretty neat, but I don't really like Silent Hill games. Not because they're bad, but because they were the first introduction of horror for me and have scarred me for life. Before we get super into this, I want you all to know, no matter what, I won't like this game. Either because it's just plain bad, or because it's scary. It's a lose-lose for me, really. Okay, let's get a little checklist going here. Dead woman, that's probably important to the protagonist. Check. Small ghostly child? Check. Zombie-looking hordes? Check. Clearly the bad guy glimpse? Check. Lots of cliches going on here, but I can't really judge on that. What I can judge is how fast it's going. Like, Jesus, slow down there, Sonic. Let me take all of the spooks in a bit before you shove me down a hole. Already, the atmosphere is pretty tense. Classic thunderstorm, decaying, rotting walls, pitch blackness, all while your own heartbeat plays loudly into your ears at all times. I'm not the biggest fan of how you control as you move with the D-pad, but you look around with the touchscreen. A bit awkward, but the game actually manages to make it work. It's not perfect by any means, but with what they were trying to do, it's passable.
This is an emergency.
Nope, I don't like warning sirens in real life, so I'm already off to a great start of noping out of this game, and it hasn't even been 5 minutes. We run into our first enemy shortly after finding a nightstick, and boy, are they scary! For like the first 2 chapters, before they turn into just a minor annoyance because they're like the only things you ever see. Murderer. With all of this and the clippings I found earlier, I'm starting to wonder if I'm the murderer or something. After doing a bit of exploring, whacking freaks as the game calls them, and finding nothing but health and a flashlight lying around, we make our way towards a door before... Not a whole lot happens after that cutscene. We finish chapter 1 and also the tutorial and make our way out onto the roof to try and get the heck out of here. After beating up a few freaks and running for my life, we take a trip into a nearby door to— Ah! Jeez, dude, what's wrong with you? Who are you anyways? What's going on? How did that even happen? You were so concerned about something coming to get you that you shot me, but couldn't see the freak right behind you? This is a closed room! The only door is the one I came from! How did you not notice that thing beforehand? Frankly, you deserve this. Thanks for the gun. I miss you. Okay, I think it's time I bring up the worst part about this game. Doors. There are so many doors! And not just locked doors, I mean half of this game is clicking open to move to a new area. It's so incredibly frustrating. If I wanted to play Door Simulator with a side of scary, I'd go play Spooky's House of Jump Scares. Not only that, the game reuses the same assets over and over again, making it very easy to get lost and also making it incredibly boring and repetitive. There's hardly any variety whatsoever, and it took away a lot of the suspense when you knew which way to go to get to the next door. Dementium attempts to keep the atmosphere up despite its reused assets with sounds like little girls crying and a woman whispering nonsense into my ear. It was scary, sure, but when there's not actually a threat, it just sort of becomes unnecessary noise. The next chapter, we find ourselves in the infant ward. Aside from one of like 4 puzzles in the game, it also has a nod to the producers of the game. However, I feel like they should have changed their date of birth because this is suggesting that this hospital admitted a 33-year-old into the infants ward. We open a few more doors into this walkway when— oh god, what is that? I think the banshees are my least favorite part of this game from their terrifying screams alone. After fleeing in terror, we make our way to our first boss. We saw this guy earlier dragging that woman around, and he's dead. Really don't think the game should have given us a shotgun so soon, as a few good blasts to the face did a number on him. We find ourselves in an elevator and complete chapter 3. Alright, this courtyard area reminds me that some of these chapters are way too short. Like, literally open a few doors and you're done. Why bother with them? You're already failing at telling a story, but now you're elongating it for no reason. The chapel in this area needs a photograph of some sort, so I guess we need to go find those for some reason. We make our way through even more doors and get to the next boss fight, and honestly, I hate this guy. He rolls around on this wheelchair, throws what I presume to be gas at you, and uses an arm gun to fill you with bullets. I had to keep teasing him into shooting me and waiting for him to reload before running over and blasting him in the head. By the end of it all, I had literally one shot left. Nothing is scarier than the thought of having to redo this boss fight. Even with all of the extra ammo and health the game keeps giving us, there are way too many enemies at certain times for the amount you can carry. If they went down in one shot, it wouldn't be too big of a deal, but some of these guys don't go down until you're 6 shots in. Like these crawlers here, who normally spawn in 3s. All of this complaining, however, is thrown completely out the window the second you obtain the buzzsaw. You go through chapter 6 trying to find 3 keys, one in the toilet, one in the stairwell, and the other on the other side of the map in an office. The game really makes you think if it's worth it or not to go back and obtain your prize, as it's a long trek back and the rooms are fairly disorienting. I decided to take some time and retrace my steps, and boy was I glad I did. The buzzsaw is completely overpowered. Maybe not to bosses, but after getting this baby, I sliced my way through everything. Since most enemies bounce back when hit, all I had to do was stick my buzzsaw out and it would clear right through them. It was amazing! And also maybe sort of ruin the rest of the game for me, but whatever. Buzzsaw time! More doors, and suddenly we're in a room full of gnashing, oozing mouths. Definitely mouths. The first thing I thought of when seeing these things sure were mouths. Anyways, I buzzsawed my way through these things, except for the ones on the ceiling, which I had to fill with bullets. Not the hardest thing in the world, mostly just tedious. After more frickin' doors, we make our way back to the chapel with the pieces of a photo we found along the way. When I got there, I actually realized I was missing the middle piece, and actually thought that me running through carelessly without checking side doors screwed me over. I hadn't been given much of a reason to check, as all it had been was ammo and health. Before accepting my fate of backtracking through, I made my way up to the only place I hadn't been to first, and lo and behold, it was the piece I was missing. Yeah, never mind what I said, this game gives you no reason to explore whatsoever, and I was played like a fool for believing even a second that it wasn't that way. I guess Dementium decided it hadn't reused enough of its assets yet, because it brings back the cleaver for round 2, and a possible redemption debt. It was even easier to kill him this time, because he was too big to fit through the elevator door you enter from. It was almost sad. Speaking of sad, the next major event is a reappearance from our good friend Wheels, but even he becomes easier, as by that point you have a sniper rifle, so all you have to do is peek up from behind the wall and shoot him back and forth a few times. With nothing else interesting after that, let's skip ahead to when we run into the masked guy from earlier.
We meet at last.
I have no idea who you are, but it's nice to meet you. Okay, bye. He leaves a note for us on the ground, which debunks the whole I totally murdered my wife theory. Zagged on me again, game. I should have seen it coming, but you tricked me. Once again, I'm Bozo the Fool to your masterful wiles. Even getting to the final boss is just doors after doors. Every long hallway that led to double doors, I kept thinking, oh, this is the final boss, but whoop, dang, you got me again, game. Just more doors. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if a giant door was the final boss at this point. I finally make my way to the final boss, who I still don't actually know. He's just a guy that was there, I guess. Sure, enough reason for me to kill him. He's a bit more difficult than the other lousy excuses they call bosses, but a couple of shotgun blasts to the face and a sniper rifle at point-blank range, this dude was practically done for. However, with enough life left in me, I took it upon myself to kill him the only way I know how. Come here, I'm gonna buzzsaw you to death! Yeah! Oh my god, is that what I looked like this entire time? Maybe that was the true horror, yeesh. Bad model aside, what was any of that? I woke up in a nice-looking hospital room and was reunited with my wife and daughter, which means either my wife was never dead or my daughter is also dead and I'm in heaven, maybe? But then I wake up again to find that my brain is being operated on by the guy I just killed. Okay.
The patient has survived phase 1 of the operation. Prepare for phase 2.
Get it? Phase 1? Like, this is game 1, and now we have to commence phase 2 and play the second game to try and figure out if any of this actually made sense or not. I find myself being left in shock a lot at game endings, but that's it. There's no explanation, no resolution, just buy the next game, lol, roll credits. I swear I'm an adult. There are so many questions left unanswered. Who killed your wife? Why was your daughter there? Was she dead too? Was she actually trying to help you? Was the cleaver and wheelchair guy supposed to mean anything? What was going on at the hospital to begin with? The notes talking about horrifying experiments. Was it all the mask guy? Who even is the mask guy, and why does he have superpowers? And look, I know the answer is probably it's all in your head, whoo! But can you just let me pretend I live in a world where people are a bit more creative than that? Dementium the Ward had a great atmosphere that was ruined by repetitive enemies, literal cookie-cutter levels, and way too many doors! There was hardly any actual plot, and they took the easy way out with a all will be explained in the next game cop-out. I was really hoping I would just hate the game based on it being a scary game, but once you give a girl a buzzsaw, you don't have much to be scared of. But there's always the second game! I don't own the second game.